Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Women Today show. This is another episode that seeks to inspire, encourage, motivate, and enlighten you and support you in terms of achieving your fullest potential. We are still on with the Women in Tech series. This is one sector that we'd like to really encourage and promote women's participation. And our motto in this is, they have to see it, to believe it, and to be it. So we're trying to encourage more women, the upcoming and even those who are in the sector, trying to retain as many women and to see where the sky is, and the sky is not the limit in this. So I'd love to keep highlighting women leaders in this and keep following our journeys, and let's see how it goes. As we know, the theme of the show is On Your Journey, right? So I'd like to just get on it and introduce the guest speaker for the day and hit right to the conversation. But before that, I'll just mention that she is the Senior Manager, Governance and Business, in quotes, Chief of Staff at Safaricom. Maybe she'll just tell us more about that role. It sounds so heavy, right? Let her declutter it for us. She is a leader in strategy and governance, therefore, and a specialist in vendor and partner management, and an avid communicator, among other skills. So you may consult her in any of the areas I've mentioned: partner and vendor management, effective contracting and procurement, leadership, strategic thinking and strategy execution, customer service and experience, budget forecasting, cost management and operational efficiency, stakeholder engagement and relationship building, out-of-box solutions, channel management. This is a whole lot. So this is a whole lot of experience, and I'm so happy and honored to be able to welcome her on the Women Today show. Welcome, Donna. Welcome.
Thank you, Christine. Thank you, Christine. I think you forgot to mention I also head Safaricom Women in Tech.
Oh yes, I forgot to mention that. That's the reason we are sitting here today. Actually, I have meant to interview you, to be honest, for years. I think since we last did a motherhood conversation with the women in tech in Safaricom. It has been on my mind, and I'm so happy that this has happened today. And this is not the last, by the way. I'll keep inviting you because I have so many ideas around promoting women in tech.
Yeah.
So karibu sana to Women Today show.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. I'd like to start a segment on the show where I ask the speaker, where is your mind at today and how are you feeling? Maybe before we dive into anything deep, how are you today and how are you feeling and where is your mind? What crossed your mind this week that just, that you'd like to share? Yeah.
So this week was a bit intense, and I think this question has come so timely. Mid this week, I got hit to the reality. At times we make decisions and pose our lives for others, only to realize the people you're posing it for are actually not in the space you are with them.
Hey, that
profound. Hit me on Tuesday this week so hard, but I quickly reached out to people who make it matter for me most, and I got my balance back. And I ended it quite on a high, but I realized that yes, I will have to make decisions for me and stop making them for others.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's so profound, and having all the experience you've gathered, and sometimes I think it's also, how do I put it? I don't want to say an African problem, but it could be, where we want to carry the weight of the world because that is just how we are also nurtured, and it's our culture as well. But sometimes you have to be a bit realistic in life and pragmatic. Now that you mentioned that, I'll also share then something interesting that happened today morning.
Okay, interesting.
So I've been trying to jog every morning where I live now in the estate.
Yeah.
And I think yesterday before our interview, actually, I keep asking myself sometimes, reflecting, why do I do Women Today show? Why? So every morning I've been jogging like this week, and I see the students who go to school early in the morning, like 5, the buses come to pick them, and they have to leave the house and be out in the cold and wait for the bus before 6. And I've been jogging every day. We say hi as I pass, and nothing. Today morning, to my surprise, I wake up and I'm jogging and I see them. I think they just wake up early for some reason, and they start, they just hang out because I think they're used to waking up early. So it's like two young girls, maybe around 10, 12, walking in the estate, then looking for their friend who might also be awake for them to just walk through. And then they see me jogging, they say hi, and shortly after they join me in jogging. Not together, but they're running together and just doing their own thing. And I've never seen them doing this before. And I just realized that sometimes this is why we do what we do even with women today.
Yes.
You never know who's watching, and basically you're inspiring others also at the next generation, what we do every day today. So the decisions you have to make today that are profound for yourself, and it's teaching the next generation, your daughter and all the others around, to always choose to do the right things for themselves, for others, to take care of themselves. There's always a good example to portray for the next people. And I guess as women who are now living today, and you are the forefront of women in tech and Safaricom, you have a lot on your plate. Sorry about that, but I guess it's a burden to share.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a burden to share.
Yeah.
So let's just start with your career development. You know, I looked through your LinkedIn profile and I found this very interesting. You have a mix of both communication and tech. I saw that you worked with, I think it was Gina Dean, PR, and so you've had a good combination of communication and tech. How did that come to be? Or
So to be honest, it's a blend of my passion and my personality. So tech is a passion. Communication is my personality. I'm a very communicative person. I'm very extroverted. I like nice things. I like events. I like storytelling. Then passion is what I like, what tech can do. So when I first did my undergrad, I did tech because I was passionate about it and wanted to pursue it after being inspired by one of my uncles, who is a very is a great guy within the tech field in the country and out of the country. And when I started doing tech, I got to practice tech. In the early days of my career, that was about in 2010, I went to Gina Dean to pursue a tech role, but in a PR company.
Okay.
And I remember the way the company was run, and the first thing I was told was, as much as you're a techie, you can't come dressed like a techie. You're in a PR company, you need to represent what a PR company does, like dress nicely and stuff. So you'd actually do pulling cables, doing system adjustments and stuff, but you'd dress nicely. And it's going to be pants and a nice top, or it's going to be a dress. So you need to figure out your balance. And I didn't mind it. I really liked that. So I did that for some time. Then when I got to Safaricom now, I was now practicing again, hardcore engineering, work support. I realized dressing in baggy pants and stuff wasn't me. So I would go to work actually dressed in the same dresses that I was dressing at Gina Dean, and the same nice skirts and all that, making my hair, doing makeup and all. And I remember some of my team members actually would even tell me that, I would hear them talk, and at times they would tell me to my face, you know, you'll not, this is not the industry for you. Just because I was looking all dolled up and stuff. And I said, it is well. We choose what you want to reflect. Yeah. Then when I took about 4 years into that role, as I was now navigating where I wanted to grow to, I said, okay, fine. I want to be a leader. I don't want to be a hardcore tech. I want to be a leader. I want to lead teams. I want to lead an organization. So I just need a bit of this and a bit of this. And what do I need? A bit of balance in terms of commercial skills, a bit of balance in terms of the tech skills. I already had the tech skills. So for me, it was how do I get the next thing? So I wanted to move to a role that gives me the business acumen. Okay. So as I was moving to that role, that same year, I enrolled to start to do a master's in comms. And because I felt I needed comms at another level. Because again, as you're a leader, there's a way you're supposed to, the brand aspects of a company really matter, how you communicate, how you position yourself and stuff. So I said, let me also layer that within. And actually went to do, and the VC at that time actually called me and asked me, why are you doing a master's in communication? You're from a tech background. I told him, no, it's just me, my personality. I just want to enhance it. I want to enjoy what I'm doing. And he actually said yes after that, but it took a lot of convincing. So for me, then that is where I brought in strongly my personality, because I said I don't have to do a boring job. People may be pursuing tech, but for me it was, how do I layer the tech? Because tech is a very powerful skill. How do I layer that now to make it into leadership? For me, that was where I wanted to be. So that's how I ended up having the commercial skills. So after that, all my roles were now commercial-based roles.
Okay.
I made sure now, because I already had the tech skills. So there's nothing that was going to really change much. But now I needed to layer and grow.
Okay.
So then I put in my commercial skills, I put in my communication skills.
Yeah.
And so yes, that's why you see the two kind of things.
Blending. It's a very interesting blend.
Yes.
Also for me, because I'm in communications, I'm seeing how you're blending it so well. And it's good to know that you can be in two, I don't want to say industries, but more of two kind of core skills, and now combine that to excel and accelerate your career.
Very true. And shockingly, at times you do things, but you do not know that you're doing things, and they're going to matter ahead. When I look back, my dots connect because I did my master's. I started doing my master's in 2014 at Daystar. In 2021 is when I got headhunted for the role I am in, the chief of staff. And for chief of staff, I helped my boss with all his speeches, all his presentations. So that is now playing now.
A role now.
A role now.
Yes.
At that time, it was not so strong. At that time, it was just for me to be able to learn at what a leader needs. But for now, I'm actually practicing all the things I did back then. So at times, some of these things, you do them, and I say, follow your heart. Maybe your heart is leading you somewhere. So self-awareness is key. When you understand who you are, what you want to be, do what your heart is pushing you. It will connect, it will matter somewhere.
Okay.
It may not be today, tomorrow, but it will matter at some point.
That's interesting. And so is it your heart and passion that led you to Women in Tech Safaricom? Now, how did that come to be?
So Women in Tech was started in 2012, towards 2013. And at that time when it started, I was actually already in tech in Safaricom. And the lady who started it, the founder, Angela Wamola, at that time was like, she was seeing the same issues we had seen in campus, where you have very few ladies. You're in a class of about 70, then you only have 4 ladies, 5 ladies. So she was like, you know what? For her, it's always the impact. What do I do? Instead of always talking about it and saying, these are the struggles, what do we do about it? So she started Women in Tech. At that time, I was just any other women in tech. In 2013, going 2014, she actually approached me and said, you know what, Donna? I really want you to take a strong role in Women in Tech.
Oh, so she's pointed you out, like she identified.
Because people had actually been nominated or had actually taken up some roles. For me, it was just be a member, enjoy. Then she said, no, I want you to take an active role. I want you to be our communications person.
Okay.
So again, some of these things just connect backwards. So I said, okay, fine. I'll come in, I'll help. So I did the communications and coordination for the events for a bit of some time. I think that was all the way until 2021. And in 2021, so I was doing communications and coordination, one of the segments, the WIT internal forum. But I was also helping in other pillars, like the high school pillar and stuff. But in 2021 now, after Angela left before, then Lillian became our head. And then we had Agnes. Agnes now left the organization. So our new director of network at that time, who was now our patron, asked us to vote amongst the leads who would want to then be. I didn't even ask myself, raise my hand for it. Because I was already neat and I enjoyed what I do. For me, it was what was from my heart.
Passion,
Then the ladies were told okay to vote. So they gave names. And when they gave names, it was me, another fellow colleague, Diana. And when they voted, I actually got the role. I was like, oh, okay.
People actually believe in you.
You actually believe in me to lead all of you. And I was like, yeah, well, why not? And from 2021, I've been leading it. And I think for me, it's women and girls have a special place in my heart. In 2013, in Safaricom, I took a sabbatical, January to March, and I went to live in Tana River.
Okay.
And for me at that time, there was a program in Safaricom called Vodafone World of a Difference program.
Okay.
And I then submitted my name, very rigorous process, and I ended up being one of the Safaricom Vodafone Global World of a Difference ambassadors. And then you get to choose an initiative that you're passionate about. Then you go for the 3 months they support you to go and support the cause.
That's nice.
Yeah, so in Tana River was life-changing, man. I think for me there, the fact that, first of all, even hotels, I didn't even have a hotel. I actually slept in the homestead of the guy who actually runs the organization, this family. So I stayed there. And then every time I would go to the community every morning to go and speak to the women, the only means of transport there is motorbikes. And for the motorbikes, there are very few. And the same motorbikes as what children used to go to school. If you're going to school, fine. People use it for different purposes. You have to book a motorbike like 48 hours in advance. Who knew
you have to plan your journey.
You have to plan your journey. So you can imagine, you can't just wake up. In Nairobi, you wake up and hail and then a motorbike and say, I need to go. No, 48 hours in advance, give notice, then the guy plans.
What?
There, the men don't sleep. So at night, the men stay awake to guard their homes because of you have the crocodiles that come in from the river and stuff.
What?
Yes. Where you go to shower, it's a shower outside and it's just barricaded in some type of way. They will have in the village and stuff. So it's very remote. I used to travel from Mombasa, because I used to fly to Mombasa and then I go to Tana River. Mombasa, it's one bus in the morning that leaves to Tana River. That bus is full to the brim. People have milk, chicken, everything in that bus. I pick it from Nyali. I find when it's already full. You find there somewhere you squeeze in. When you get towards, now you're approaching Tana River. There are no roads. The driver keeps calling. Leo tutapitia wapi? Boma nani? Where are the bandits? Nini?
Yeah.
It's all the way till you get to Hola Town.
Oh my gosh.
And when you get to Hola Town, it's something else. So it was a very, very different experience. Then the women there in the morning, they wake up, they go to the shambas. So if you want to find them, you have to book them in advance. And when you book them in advance, then they come for a very short period because they have to go and then prepare lunch for their children. So you have to be very calculative about everything you do. And for them, priority is family. Getting married, and you see, I was trying to build a vocational center where they could create some time and come and learn skills that would help them earn money. But you have to get their buy-in, and you have to show them why this is important. Because for them, it's not. For them, it's my small shamba, I dig, my children go to school, I'm married, but the man will bring the money. If he doesn't bring,
they well and good.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it was quite something. And then of the 3 months, let me tell you, I looked at life very differently.
I can imagine.
Very, very, very different.
But I wonder whether you looked at it also. I think it's also the same challenge I've seen in the water sector, where you see right now we're able to look at phones and call and do everything on the phone very easily. But then there are people who in the same era are still not able to access water. And then you look at life in a very different way. But you as a woman in tech, who you're so well versed with digital systems, and you go to a place where nothing that you are concerned about matters to them. I can imagine how you'd look at life differently. But now, what did that change about you? Maybe in terms of how you approach career and the kind of impact that you want to create.
So it basically just fueled my push to be able to empower women more in terms of what they can be, what they can do, and even with tech, because tech enables us. And tech doesn't mean you have to have hardcore tech or you don't have to have the very expensive gadgets and stuff. No, for me it is, women are actually already, I'd say, tech enthusiasts. But the fact that we didn't have microwaves a while back, but our mothers warmed rice. They put it in a pan, they poured some little water, you cover it, it warms. Innovation. So for me, it was just to show them that these everyday problems and challenges you are having, there are ways there are small ways you can adapt that can help you improve efficiency within your life or open for you opportunity here and there. And if you then have like a device, it helps you even more. Or if you have some digital literacy skills, then it helps you even more and helps you plan better and stuff. So just the fact that helping them use what is available to them to be able to make their lives better. Because for me, it mattered most that women are so left behind. But if you look at the reality right now, like for example, when Safaricom recently released Hustler Fund, it was so sad to see that out of the numbers, the portion of women who actually took the Hustler Fund were not so high. Yet the ones who run all these small businesses, they're always the ones who are innovative, selling this, selling that. And I really felt bad because I feel like at times we miss opportunities. So someone just needs to help. And it's not because we choose to miss them. We are busy with so many other things. So for me, I said, let me be intentional about how do I help women take advantage of the opportunities that are available to them, even if it would just mean digital skills, financial literacy, and things like that, to help them just go along in life. And we may never get to be that par, but can we close the gap and somehow be somewhere where we can actually transform our communities? Because women, I can tell you for free, we are the core of the community. Yes. And we bring a lot of development in our community. I really like the passion in you. I can see it. Like there's a lot that goes through your mind in what drives your career. And I wonder how, in connecting the dots, you're able to see one side of a community where there's a gap, as you say. I think I'm understanding there's a really big gap in knowledge to those women who don't have the
knowledge on what they can do to improve themselves and, make their lives better. On the other side, there's another upcoming generation that has serious access to technology, right? And I guess in order to promote women in technology in the future, like make it sustainable, we have to start them when they are young. And starting them when they're young means at the same time that we have to keep giving them more gadgets, or I don't know. They have to spend more time with computers.
Yeah.
I can imagine all these founders of Microsoft and Google and Facebook. I'm sure they were all having to spend so much time on a gadget and a computer.
Yeah.
And the scare of what the internet means today and what tech means today also, it faces the ones that are coming. In fact, for them, it's worse.
Yeah.
I wonder how to get that balance now. Like, what would you say about that? Because now there's this side of there's no knowledge.
Yeah.
The knowledge might catch up with them in society where there's lack.
Yeah.
But then there's also the upper middle class and modern that have so much access to, and these are the women who might take tech to the next level. Yeah. Innovation in Africa can go to the next level also because of these young ladies. But then there's that thing of you're also a parent, right? And your daughter might grow up and wants to have a phone early and a gadget early, and and now you wonder how do I drive this balance and make sure that they are still progressing with time, but at the same time protecting?
So interesting. Women in Tech has 6 pillars. We have Kids in Tech. We have 47, which is a kids program for age 7 to 13. We have the high school program. It's called 47, an outreach program. Then we have Tech Innovation Challenge, also a high school program. Then we have campus outreach for universities and the tertiary institutions. Then we have the academy, the internship program. Then we have lastly the Women in Tech Networking Forum, the internal one. Why we start with a kids program? Because for us it's creating a pipeline, creating that pipeline that then leads to more women in the society, in the tech space. We realize that you have to start at a young age. Some of these things you can't start them when already the core woman is at work. It's better to start influencing the numbers from a young age. And that's why we started from like a little kid, and we start from 7 years. Okay. And so for me, especially during COVID, we had to pivot. How we started the program, some of the initiatives or how we're driving the pillars has had to change over time. And some of the messages now, for example, just as you put it rightly, so when I'm speaking to the older women who then now form the last part of the pipeline, which is now the Women Networking Forum, the conversations are very different. But for the kids, for us now, it is pushing about, yes, you're exposed to more devices, more internet exposure. How safely are you using the devices? How effectively are you spending your time on the devices? And how best can you use that technology to actually make something meaningful of your time on it? So a lot of things we're now trying to push about the robotics, a lot of things about we're trying to show kids how they can start building, and the things that they love, like gaming. So we're trying to show how you can even build a game. So for them, it's using what they love most, but trying to show them how best and effectively and safely they can use it for them to leverage it and move further or pick it as a career.
It also sounds interesting. I'm like, if I'm being taught how to do gaming when I'm a child,
exactly. Because during our time, those things are not there. But for them, you see that such things matter. They like games, they like what. So that's how you capture their interest, but at the same time, teach them the power of tech. And at the same time, also then tell them, when you're having these devices, you can be doing something constructive. Instead of actually playing the game, build the games. So you're still doing something, So that's one of the approaches that we use for the current generation. Then you'll also notice for the high school initiatives and the campus initiatives. So now again, devices, more internet exposure. But now we are trying to do a lot of build, a lot of innovation. We're pushing for a lot of hackathons, a lot of boot camps. So now instead of just going to talk to the university students about, you need to pick this career, this is how the workforce looks out here. We're actually now pushing them more towards a lot of learning boot camps. So we try to really consume their time in learning sessions, especially with the new technologies, and showing them how those technologies are evolving and being incorporated into the workspace. So how we address and find that balance is, we also as Women in Tech programs, we have to keep evolving with the times. We also have to see what addresses each age group or each age set at the time and what they need. Okay. So so that we do actually change our message and narrative based on the audience, and we try to attack it from what we are seeing also at the time.
I like that you're giving them not just the knowledge that tech is here, and well, this is what you need to do. Your career can look like this. I am a representation of what this career has been. There's that part, but then there's the idea of also giving them the tools, and the tools also is how to, of course, sustainably support them. And now, in terms of the private sector, I really like Safaricom's approach in promoting women in tech. First, they have a whole segment of promoting women in tech inside a networking. Internally, you have an internal club, and then now you come out and see how to go through to communities as well to support. It's really nice. But how do we now promote other private sector companies as well to do the same? Of course, Safaricom being the best practice, so giving them a model of how you run women in tech, just, I guess, the starting points, right?
So before that, allow me to also just give thanks to my employer. So they do more. Women in tech sector is a very small subset of what we do for women.
Okay.
So we also have a bigger holistic program called Connected Woman, that serves the internal woman within the organization. And Connected Woman actually was formed. It was launched the previous a year ago, International Women's Day, and it seeks basically to feed or to support the women in three areas: how to thrive, how to step up in terms of their career, and also financial support. Yeah. And so other than Connected Women, then we have women in tech, we have women in business. Women in business now speaks to the different suppliers we have within the organization who are women-led organized businesses. And they're trying to see how to support them, and we intentionally even give a specific percentage of our procurement cost for women-led businesses within Safaricom. So as I said, Safaricom is doing much more beyond women in tech. But now back to your question. How does the private sector plug in? So I believe it's about intentionality. It's about the commitment. When you see this issue in our society, as an organization, you have to step up and commit and create the different structures and initiatives to do this. And what I've seen work in Safaricom is it's always leader-led.
Okay, yeah.
It has to come from the top. Some of these things, if you believe in that vision, then you rally your team. For sure, the vision will live alive. And so a lot of support for this initiative, women in business, women in tech, have all been a vision of success from our late CEO, Bob Colimo. He rest in peace. Yeah. And yes, he was quite passionate about them. So he really pushed them. And he could, with the passion, it trickled down because it was so authentic.
Yeah.
Yes.
Sorry, you're still going
on. So for me, it has to be leader-led. So is the leadership of the organization aware of the issue? Are they intentional about the issue? So intentionality and commitment. Then once again, there's so many initiatives now that are bringing the industry together. We have, for example, the 30% Club that has a charter in East Africa. It seeks to bring in the different leaders of organizations to come in and make commitments to push diversity and inclusion and equity. And so many CEOs are approached across board, different industries, to actually then come together so that they can help rally each other, support each other to push this agenda. Currently, I'm a member of 30% Club East Africa. Okay. It's unfortunate that we still don't have good numbers of the representation of our CEOs in Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania. But we hope that more of them can join, because then from such initiatives, they can start committing as an organization, pushing their organizations, and then adopting some of these best practices that are happening.
Copying this, let me just add to that, because I like the leadership intentionality, and now also copying the model by 30% Club. Do you think the public sector, like governance, just still around leadership, should have maybe models or like policies, let me put it like that, like policies that the private sector can enact and bind themselves to commit? Or is that the way? I'm actually asking whether that's the way to push forward. Or
so some of these things I'd say are tricky. Well, some of them I'd say, if you say it at a policy level, then it becomes a ticking the box thing. Some of these things, I don't think they succeed so well with ticking the box. So for me, it is an intentional commitment from the leader without actually being forced into it. No policy forces. Policies basically follow it or you're damned. It's compliance. So for me, it's more just coming into this lead. It's the same way many organizations now, sustainability is a big thing.
Yeah.
No one has put policy anywhere, but they're seeing the need. The more they see the need, the more they see the need to actually start committing and being able to take up the commitment seriously. So for me, the same thing. Diversity, equity, and inclusion should no longer be actually a conversation. For me, it is actually a strategic engagement, because it is proven. Any balanced team succeeds and does better.
Okay.
So for me, it is one of those things where it's no longer even a discussion. It's basically supposed to be, and it shouldn't even be driven from a HR perspective.
Okay.
It's supposed to be driven from a strategic perspective. It's, for example, let's say in Safaricom today, diversity, equity, and inclusion should also not just be about women. It's about the minority in different ways, even the differently abled and stuff. If we build a product today, are we building a product that is just for the normal mwananchi, or are we accommodating every other person to be able to build that, to use the product? So for me, that's why it's a strategic intent. It's supposed to be something that the strategy unit uses to push. As they push their strategy or their proposals, they should always embed it in every process, every product, every solution. So it shouldn't be a HR conversation.
Okay. That sounds okay. Yeah, maybe sometimes it looks easier said than done, but as you said, it's intentionality and the leadership at hand.
And then also maybe some organizations. So the leader may not take it through, but I also say, if there are members of the organization that feel they would want to tackle it, at times raising your hand also is a big plus. Come together, start something. If even the startups, even the Facebooks and all, they started small. So start up something, voice it. You never know who will, just as you said, who will be watching, who will be seeing. It might become bigger than you and it may take life. So it can be two-pronged. Either it starts from people who are passionate about it and who feel that they need to come together and make something work, or it can come from the leader. But again, as I said, because this is it's big in magnitude as a conversation, I feel like the leadership needs to play a part in it and support it and give it life.
And talking about leadership and women in tech, in the essence of promoting them, I was trying to do the same way I do the interviews and then an event after. But then I wanted to look at also interviewing women in tech who are entrepreneurial, like women entrepreneurs. And that's so hard to find. Like, it is like they're there, but it's hard. And some women in tech also don't know how many other entrepreneurs are there. It's a very small scope of women who are now women in tech entrepreneurs. How do we promote more and more of that? And maybe how are you doing that also as a women in tech leader at Safaricom with your all outreach approach?
So maybe because I'm a woman in tech, I know quite a few of them. So when you're saying that, I was just like, shut, But I think for me, I've worked closely with our women in business arm. And so in women in business, because those are women, some of them actually engineers or tech ladies who are now running their business. Some of them are tech enthusiasts running their businesses. And so it's just being intentional about every time there's a cohort, having conversations, spending some time with them, also just to understand how we marry the two worlds and the support they can get from our end. So working closely with women in business has been something that is important for me, because then how do we support those who are going into the entrepreneurial bit or the business aspect of the tech field, and then also playing it back. So again, as I support the working woman within Safaricom, some of them want to get into business, nice. Some of them want to branch out. So again, how do I bring it back, the women in business, to come and also motivate, mentor, and enable ladies who are also in tech who want to open their businesses. So for me, I think it's mutual. Yes. So it's bringing it back to have conversations with the internal woman who wants also the opportunity to start businesses in the tech space, and also just then giving advice on how the industry is playing out and how best they can start consuming, enjoying business opportunities within the tech space that they may not be seeing.
So there's that too. In terms of mentorship, promoting and coaching women, what are the kind of challenges that these women are having? Why they're not so many of them starting or becoming entrepreneurs? And also there's also the idea that there's women who want to become women leaders in tech, right? What are the challenges they're seeing that they can't really thrive? What are the challenges women in tech are facing right now that they can't really thrive to look at leadership positions? They're just trying to work in the environment, but not move to, chief of staff.
That's a hard question. It's I normally feel relatively different for everyone, case by case, but again, no majority. So for the women in tech-led businesses, those ones, for them, for the longest time, it was always, how do I crack? Because tech businesses are capital intensive. So the financing was the difficult bit and stuff. And then also, how best do they break through? Because like for tech-led businesses, one, the capacity of the organization, the skill, and then maybe you're not taking yourself, like how do you, all that. So breaking into tech organizations to be able to support them, be a supplier, was now becoming an issue. But again, those were barriers we've broken, and as leaders within the tech space, we are now enabling them to have conversations with them how best they can take advantage of different opportunities, whether it's with banks or financial institutions, or the support they can get, whether we get them trainers in terms of the technical skills and stuff like that. So I think that one is now less reducing. So now you notice a lot of women-led businesses, women-led organizations are actually going to businesses from a tech perspective, yeah? Like in Safaricom, we have quite a good chunk. On the other side, as a woman in tech in a corporate scenario, I think for me it is more or less leadership at the top has got a lot to do with, one, at times raising your hand. As women, it's natural for us to second guess. Yes, I don't know why, but yeah, I think it's just the way we're wired. So you'll be like, okay, can I really do this job? All these qualifications, will I be able to? But you know, men are very risk averse. So just be like, let me go try. Let's go see what this can do. So I think for women, again, so they hire the role at times you really question because you want to tick all the right things, but we don't have to, because life is a learning process. Every day, even with motherhood and getting a child, you get this child, your first child, you navigate through so many unknowns. So it's the same thing as a job. Go forth and just go and navigate it. You'll be the first, and if you create support systems or you get people who can support you, then you'll be able to make it. So one, just the unconscious bias of you, unconscious narrative of you second guessing yourself. So that's one. Then two, some of the very high leadership roles are more or less about headhunting, referrals and stuff. So you'll find that for us women, we need someone who can actually then, at times, speak your name or sponsor you at a table. And yes, and take a risk on you, because it's actually taking a risk. Because men easily nominate each other. And so at times women don't come top of mind. And you'll find at times for women, you need to put in slightly more effort. Compared to a man. For a woman, most likely your day ends at 5, you need to run home because of homework, you're speaking of kids and stuff. For a man, maybe he can work late because maybe the wife is supporting do that. So you see, when you're the boss and you're there, top of mind, you tend to see the man more than the woman. So again, as a leader, be more intentional about how then do you create opportunities to speak or to sponsor your female talent within the organization, and to be able to expose them to leadership opportunities and not downplaying what life has for them, because they'll disappear for maternity leave. They'll go. So their time within the visibility will be more or less, but you have to be intentional as a leader. So again, do you have the right people who can speak your name in the right places? Or do you have that support system? Then I think lastly for me, it would be being intentional about your growth. It's just not about you doing your job well. There's now networking in the industry. There's platforms where you need to go start speaking. Do your peers know you around the industry? Is your work visible? So it's not just you staying in Safaricom and then you're working so hard and thinking that will cut it. No, being at that leader level of the executive needs you to also be well advanced with your community or industry. And for you to do that, you have to network. So you have to push yourself out of the ordinary and create time for networking, create time for visibility, speaking engagements and stuff. So you have to put in the extra. So I think that one works to our disadvantage again, as I said, because as mothers, parents and stuff, you'll find the woman never has that opportunity unless she's intentional.
That's true. And now on the light touch, there's something you mentioned earlier, and I want to get back to it on the tech space and women today in terms of dressing. You mentioned that, well, women in tech are dressed usually in a way that doesn't look like what is that, like PR, like what was the representation doesn't come out nice. How is that in this today? Like I think it's different though, because I see women in tech really looking like
it's for sure changing. I think that the intentional message here is that we don't need to be like men. So like, for example, guys are going to a serious event. As a woman, you don't have to appear in a suit. Wear your nice dress and jacket and rock it, yeah? So don't be like men. Sometimes you feel like you're going to this event and you know there'll be more men. So you try to wear a suit so that you actually, so you wear a nice suit, but you actually feel like, I will look like that. No, we don't have to be men. For me, it is wear your nice dress. Actually what I preach is, use your femininity to the best of your ability. Be feminine. There's a reason why you're that. And it doesn't take anything from your brains. If you wear a dress, I don't think you get your knowledge reduces in any aspect. So for me, yes, the narrative is changing. Now you see a bit of the tech with ladies appearing more feminine and more nicer than before. But yes, a long way to go in that space, because you find at times early in the career, they're still the ones who feel comfortable being techie. But I guess it's really changing.
Is it something that is is it socially influenced or what? Because you're right, maybe in university or so, somebody just feels like to be in tech, you have to just look like you don't care about how your looks are. Or is it something socialized? Is it?
It's the unconscious. You know, when your surrounding influences you unconsciously. So like when you're around a lot of people who are doing something, you also feel like you go with the way the peer influence. So I think that's what generally happens, So we are scared of standing out. So you'll find you want to be like everyone. So you end up doing what everyone does. And you'll find that the women leaders in tech already are the ones who now have come out strongly as feminine. But the ones who are still at entry level or medium management are still trying to not stand out. To be like. Stand out.
Stand out. I love it. Stand out. That's the word of the day. Stand out. On a personal level, I would ask you, one, what challenge that you've had along the way in your career that has been so daunting, but somehow you've managed to get by, just in case anyone needs to be encouraged today and maybe they go through the same issue. And then I'll come back to ask you about, on a personal level, you as a woman leader, how you would like to inspire your next generation, your kids, and what you'd like them to learn and know, either in the tech space or out of tech, like what you want to pass on.
Biggest challenge, oh my. Okay. I think for me, from a personal perspective, it has been, when I look back at the entry level, when I was at entry level, I wish I did more in terms of, one, setting up like plan B structures. I think there was more time then, so I wish I did more at that space. And also personally, when I look back at times, I say, I think I should have maybe started a family earlier.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Okay.
And truth is that as you rise, it's not that it takes you back, but it's like you don't give the other side your all. When I compare when I had my first one and when I've had my second and third, my first one was before I was in junior leadership, now I'm senior leadership. I had more time with him. I had more time to nurse, to give. And this other one, the time might be there, but the conditions are so hectic and so crazy. You're battling so much. So I feel like when you're the younger self.
Don't you think that maybe, I feel like life happens the way it should happen though.
No, it does. I don't regret it. I don't regret it.
If you had more time and had the other ones, maybe you would not have also pushed your career. What do you think?
So I think pushing of career is at all levels. Pushing of career for me, I push even harder now. And even at that time, I pushed quite hard. Yes, and that's what I was saying, self-awareness. So for me, pushing at the career, regardless of where you are, you're always pushing hard, especially if you're intentional about your career. But for kids, it's a season. And I feel like, yes, I'm not regretting. I have given the best I could give. But it's even because of the opportunity and time, I actually had to have my second and third quite close.
Yes.
Because I felt like the more I go, I might not actually.
Yes, that's true.
And the body also responds differently. Yes. So for me, again, some of those things are to the advantage of the woman. And when I look back, those are some of the things I say, maybe I should have. I'm not saying I should have. I love my family, I love my kids. And I feel like I even got the last one at the right time that I wanted.
But that's real talk.
Yeah.
I love the realness that is in you.
So when I look back, those are the two things that I think I should have maybe done differently. But again, as you said, it's God, because people battle so many things. You might have wanted it at that time, and God wouldn't have given it to you. So again, He's the one to say, To the other question, where I am in my life right now, this year, every year I create a picture of where I want to be. At the beginning of the year, I have my vision board. Then I have my intentional career path. So my intentional career path this year basically was 4 things. It was themed, being focused, being fit, and being fun. But it had 4 pillars in the whole: being focused, fit, and fun. And for me, as I inspire the next people, I inspire my kids. The 4 things this year that I'm trying to do is everything that I do needs to be intentional. It needs to be able to inspire. It needs to be able to influence, and it needs to have impact. And so for me, the choices I make today have to speak to those 4 things.
Okay.
So as I planned out my year with God in mind, because it is His purpose that we will be able to deliver the plans, I have made sure I'm intentional about even the things I'm doing with family. What do my kids see beyond it? Is it impactful to them? Is it influential? Or do they find it inspiring? And things like that. So that has actually led how I've so far run the 5 months of my year. And hopefully we'll see the next 7 months. But for sure, yes, being intentional, being influential, inspirational, and also having impact in each and
How are you
everything.
getting these values or tenets, or how do I call them? Is it coaching that you're going through? Is it your own personal? Do you derive them personally? I'm just curious now.
So, one, it's something, I have coaches in my life who then help me achieve some of them. But otherwise, it is also self-driven. Most of it is self-driven. So for example, if I'm going to go to work and I know this month has been hectic, then how I go through the next month, or this weekend was light, this one was heavy, how I balance those is driven by how the 4 values and how I want to show up.
Okay.
So like even for example, if for my kids, I promised myself this year I'd give them like a big holiday, but the holiday and like our normal holidays might be a bit different because I wanted to expose them to something different. So everything that I do, I try to do it with some added advantage to it based on the 4 values. But my coaches for sure keep me in check. They keep me accountable. And also what I started this year was I showed my career intentionality to my team. And not my team even in WIT, but my team in the office under my governance team. So we did a co-creation session. Everyone did a vision board. Then I actually ended up showing them what I do for my career intentionality. Okay. And so they actually hold me accountable. Okay. So when I do things, they actually say, wow, this speaks to this speaks to this. Yeah. And it has worked for me. So having accountability partners, having the coaches also are aware of what I intend to do so that they can help me navigate. And then now my family, basically, and me self-driving it has worked for me so far.
And how often do you reflect on these 4 areas? Daily?
Every month, because I have monthly sessions with my coaches, and that's when I take stock of what has happened. So I reflect back, I reflect ahead. So every month I have to retrospect and see weekly would be good, but it's too intense, also based on our work and everyday life. So I do every month. I take stock of what has happened.
Oh, that's profound. That's wisdom also. And that's like, I was asking also the questions for my own understanding, but at the same time, anyone else is trying to also, become better in themselves, they can also borrow a leaf from you.
And what I tell my team in WIT, life has seasons. Accept the season you are in. Again, speaks back to self-awareness. So it's important as a woman, as a man, but as women, basically, self-awareness. Every time. I actually try to reflect and find myself yearly. And I have a counselor I see, and I know people feel some type of way about counselors, but I actually have a counselor I work with. And for me, it is how do then you use that process to also know who you are as a person from a spiritual perspective, and then also from the counseling perspective. And so self-awareness. So when you know what you are, who you are, what you want, why, then it helps you identify your season, accept your season, and navigate your season.
And there's something I like about you. I think the first time I interacted with you, I really loved you are so intentional, by the way, about your own self-care. You had said that you have booked in your calendar nail appointment, and when it's nail day, you will not take any chances of missing the appointment. I like that intentionality. You're very intentional in how you live, and it's inspiring. I love it. I love that about you. Yeah. And lastly, I think, just so that we can wind this up, at Women Today, as much as I'm so on women, supporting women empowerment, and I'm passionate because I'm also a woman, and it's like, it comes from within.
Yes.
But we also appreciate the men in our lives. Men, we love men at Women Today show because men are like the backbone of a lot, and they say behind every empowered, or I don't know what guy, there's also a good woman behind. Yes. But then also behind every woman, there's always good men behind. Yeah. Have there been any men mentors and male support along the way, and you just want to share that as well? I think I know that you really loved your dad to start.
That I think, one, men have played a big part in maybe forming who I am today. My first acknowledgement goes to my husband. And I choose my husband because he is the man in my life now. And he's the man in my life when I'm trying to do all these things and be this person. If he's not supportive, I don't think I would be able to make it.
That's true.
And one of the things that I talk about greatly that has propelled me over the last few years to where I am is a good support system for two fronts: my husband and my nanny. Okay. I have an awesome nanny currently.
So sweet.
So those two people. Yeah. So my husband, for me, as a man in my life right now, I'll give thanks because there's a lot he has to come in also to support me, to enable me achieve and thrive. So that's the first man I would thank. And he's a mentor without knowing, because it's every day and he's in the space and it's not formal, but he's a mentor. And then he's also a techie. So again, yes.
It helps to build each other.
It helps to build each other, and he sees it, and and then he comes in strongly, supports the family, be there, helps me navigate, Second man in my life that I really want to appreciate is my late dad. Yes. He was a believer in good education, but he was also a believer in women making it and crashing ceilings. And so he really pushed me, and he really inspired me and motivated me. And at times I normally wish I wish he was here to see. But yes, I know he is seeing. Then now to my personal board of directors or my mentors. I have currently two men who have been instrumental. I may not name their names. I see them. They walk this journey with me. They knock doors. They help me elevate myself. So again, I really, really appreciate men. And then also just to my current boss. I think George, he's also called George, just like my father. So George has been one of those who, I think, for me, in 2021, when actually I got this role, hi man, my life has changed. He has seen me flourish, or rather he has helped me bloom. I never thought I would be a chief of staff. I didn't even know
what that is.
But I guess
that's nice.
He has walked the journey with me, and I can say the kind of opportunity, the platforms, awesome. And so yes, I'd also give him thanks as a leader in my life and as my boss and an indirect mentor. And then yes, lastly, to my two sons. My two sons.
That is beautiful.
Those are also very special men in my life. And when I see them and I know what I want them to be, and I see what they want to be, and I try to marry the two worlds, it makes me work harder. It makes me want them to be better, especially when young men are going through so much right now.
That's true.
And I think I see a lot of my friends or their relatives struggling with marriage and stuff, and a lot of, so I really want better for them, and so that again helps me walk a very close journey with them. Other times they mentor me because they're the Gen Zs, they tell me things that I might not know, but yes. So for me, men play a special part, and for most women, again, as we rise, other than getting women who have been sponsors, you'll find most of the sponsors have actually been men. We stand on the shoulders of men. Let me tell you, who have just given us that opportunity. So for sure, men are important. And I normally say, the way men are wired and the way women are wired are very different. And that's why I say the balanced team. When you're at a leadership table, if you have a leadership meeting with only men, a leadership meeting with only women, then a leadership meeting with all of them,
Very different.
Very different. The outcomes, the kind of conversations, the quality of the conversations. A balanced table has better outcomes. Yeah. So for me, very critical.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Donna, you're so inspiring. I loved having you on the show. I hope that you can do this again, maybe through another event or other activities that you're doing in Women in Tech. Maybe you can highlight each one of them.
Yes.
You know, so that any other person can benefit from the conversation, the knowledge, the insights, the education that is in everything that you do. Because I think you really do such an instrumental role. You play such an instrumental role in empowering young women in tech today. And I'm happy that today you're able to come to the show. Your talk is very passionate. You know, you want to talk to someone who also is in touch with their environment, their life, the feelings of people, the plan. You care for everything, like, and that's really beautiful. And that you're very true to yourself and true to what you do, to the cause, and you're honest as well. And I appreciate that when I'm having dialogue. So thank you for just showing up and showing greatly and inspiring and saying all the good words and at the same time encouraging and inspiring, and you said everything. And I'm grateful. So thank you so much.
No, you're welcome. And yeah, any young girl out there, please go to our LinkedIn page, our Instagram page, our Twitter page, Safaricom _WIT, WIT that is. And yeah, get along, see our programs, subscribe, join in, come join us for any of our outreaches. We welcome the public. It's not only for internal staff, and we can do so much together. Yeah. So I believe in partnerships.
Actually, I didn't ask you if there's any opportunity or any thought or any program that you run that maybe you want to say about that maybe any public lady in tech.
All our programs are actually public interfacing. For the kids program, we're actually even planning one right now. So we normally advertise when we have any cohort running, we advertise through our social pages. So you can actually register or subscribe your child to it, and then they can come and come and do it. For the high school programs, we go to the different high schools within the counties. Right now, we are gearing up for Coast. We've been Coast the week June 12th to 14th in our head office in Mombasa. And we will be hosting schools from coastal region, at least one school per county for the 3 days, each day 4 schools and 30 students from each school. Again, we have Technovation. So Technovation is one of our started programs that we are in partnership with Technovation Global in Silicon Valley. And right now we are closing season. So we normally run the season from January to April towards August-ish, because the main thing ends at April. Then now we're going to the judging season. For Technovation, anyone in high school, even if you're in private schools, even if you are in public schools, even if you're homeschooled, you create a team of 4 to 5 girls. You can also be an individual. Then you choose an application basically in your community. When you see a problem in your community and you want to make or create a solution that alleviates the problem, you register your idea, you create the solution, submit it, and it's a competitive process. For us, we are privileged to ensure every year we've taken a team to Silicon Valley.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Nice.
And last year, the team that actually got the opportunity, that won the Africa regional competition and now made it to Silicon, was a team from Lamu.
Oh, wow.
And that was the first time these girls, first of all, in their school, they don't have a structure. They learn under a tree. These girls, this was the first time they were ever leaving their village
to go out.
When you put them on a plane, you should have seen the happiness and joy of these girls. Some of them, they were getting shoes for the first time. Yeah. But what they could do with tech, after we trained them for a couple of weeks, these girls now can create solutions and they can talk about it and they can pitch globally at the same level as a kid in India, as a kid in Ghana, anywhere in the world. And such opportunities for us speak to why we wake up every day in tech. And from 2021, for Technovation, we actually became now intentional to ensure we always support teams from underserved communities and the marginalized. Underserved and the slums, Kibera, Macharia, we ensure we support a team from there and we give it intentional attention. Other than Technovation, then we have Campus Outreach. Campus Outreach right now, actually the registration is open. I'm hoping it closes this weekend. We have a bootcamp on AI and machine learning that is running. If you check our social media pages, submit if you're a university student from any part of Kenya. It's a virtual course and training. You'll be certified at the end of it. We're in partnership with Huawei, so a very great opportunity there. Then we also have our academy, which is our internship program. We just onboarded our next cohort 2 weeks ago, the new cohort. The other one we just graduated last Friday. Again, our social media pages, you could see the graduation.
Yeah.
And so from that graduation, we had 56 students who came for the internship program. We've onboarded 9 into Safaricom. And then lastly, the networking forum, which is now both internal and public. We alternate every 2 months. We do a public event or we do an internal event. Again, our social media pages, we always share. So please subscribe so that you can be able to see the opportunities.
Wow, you do a lot, Donna. I'm listening to you. I'm like,
yes,
a lot.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes,
I don't know
yes.
whether to say congratulations, job well done. I don't know. But
no,
yeah,
it is all in pursuit of paying it forward and helping someone else be better.
Yeah, that's key. Thank you so much. Thanks for sharing.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, so I shall say now bye-bye to all the viewers. Thanks for watching. I'm sure by the time you are ending this conversation, you have actually been enlightened, you have new knowledge, you have been inspired, you are looking at your career in a positive way, you can see the path, there's a lot. So thank you so much to all our viewers. Please like, comment, share with a friend who might need this, a woman in tech. And we hope that she may be able to join us in another conversation. Feel free to share any questions you may have, and you can also find her online on LinkedIn as well, and ask her away anything that you'd like to know. So thank you so much. Until next time, bye bye.